If you actually want to make money on UFC Shanghai and not listen to these retards who don't know what they're talking about, stick around in this video. I'm going to give out my underdog of the week, my lock of the week, which is at plus money. I'm not like one of these nothing burgers, promoting a lock of the week at $1.50 odds. It's retarded. So I guarantee at least double your money. Same with all the props that I'm going to give out in this video. So starting with my underdog of the card, that is Zhao Long. Now, the more I did the tape study on this one, the more confident I became in Long. He's the more active fighter, as you can see on the screen in front of me. 5.4 significant strikes landed per minute to See Young Yu's 1.88. Even just watching back the Young Yu fight with Cunningham, he's just nothing impresses me about him. He's not active. He was getting backed up the whole fight by Cunningham. The only reason he won the fight was because of one right hand and a bunch of takedowns that he did nothing with. Cunningham nearly had him in a triangle. Well, he did have him in a triangle at one point. Nearly submitted him. Cunningham even landed a couple head kicks, a couple big shots on him. And if you're having a competitive fight with Cunningham, it doesn't look good. Zhao Long's last fight was against Kwong Lee, who did have a pretty good record at 8-1. His only loss being a close fight with Chris Gutierrez. So I do favour that win more than Yu's Cunningham win. Zhao Long goes forward. He is a spastic, bro. Like, watch back his last fight with Kwong Lee. He's just constantly like pointing to the ground, Holloway moments. Like, even in round one, he clips, like, he points to the ground, goes forward, he's screaming, lands a big left hook, knocks him back. Like, ended up getting the finish in that fight as well. Looked great. I just love the activity from Zhao Long here. You He's just on the back foot the whole time. He doesn't really have a threat with the hands now. Zhao Long, I do think that he will get clipped eventually when he does fight a good boxer, a good counter striker too, because he is very open to shots at times. At times, he does move his head a little bit, but sometimes he goes in when he shouldn't, and he can get clipped as he did in his last fight. But like I said, Kwong Lee didn't have the power to get him out of there, and I believe that Su Young Yu will not either. Su Young Yu, a lot of his fights coming by decision. I believe his last like 6 fights have gone to a decision, including his last one against Cunningham. Yeah, what I expect in this fight is Long to go forward, land more shots, and if there is a finish, I do believe that it will be on the Long side. Also, keep in mind that there is good value on Zhao Long for a KO here. See Young Yu gets backed up. He's kind of like comfortable with just outpointing you or getting control time and winning a decision. And Zhao Long's a dog. If this fight comes down to grit, it's 1-1 going into the third. Who's going to push the pace the last 5 minutes? I'm favouring Long all day. So Long's going to be our underdog of the week. I feel very, very confident in this one. Even more confident than last week. Last week, our underdog of the week was Nursultan Ruzaboyev. Unfortunately, Brian Battle missed weight. Thank God he's out of the UFC because, the cunt missed weight at welterweight and then he moves up a division and misses weight again. He's a retard. But anyways, Xiao Long's the underdog of the week. Obviously, just take him head to head. I believe he's sitting at $2.10 right now. So if you put down 100, you'll return 210. And if you want to go for the prop as well, Xiao Long by a finish or a KO, that's paying really good. Just a light sprinkle on that, but very confident in this one. He's taller. He's got a much longer reach. Much longer reach. He's a lot more active. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, See Young Yu with the takedowns or the takedowns." Cunningham was able to get back to his feet. Cunningham was able to threaten, submissions off bottom position. And you just see Young Yu, he did nothing when he took him down. He did nothing. No submission attempts, no heavy ground and pound, nothing. Like, it was just control. It was almost like he bet on himself to win a decision. So Zhao Long, he has plenty of arm bars and triangles on his resume as well. I believe he has 13 submissions. So he is dangerous off his back. He's a very well-rounded fighter. And I do also think he has the cardio advantage. So fairly confident in this one, boys. On to the lock of the week. Now, our lock of the week is a two-leg. It's a two-leg parlay mixed with two favourites together. And if you pair them together in a parlay, a multi, whatever you want to call it, that'll get you plus money. And number one is Rongju. Rongju is someone who I believe will eventually enter the rankings at lightweight. as he gets older, as he matures, he's only 25 years old, and he has 32 professional mixed martial arts bouts under his resume, and that's insane. Last fight was against Cody Steele. He was the underdog. Cody Steele was a prospect coming off of the Contender Series, and that fight was just a fucking war. Like, if you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. You'll thank me later. It's just a great fight, one of the greatest fights of 2024, I believe. I believe it happened late last year, maybe early this year. Sorry, in February, but oh, that was a great fight. Hubbard on the other end, UFC vet, was in the UFC, got cut, came back in on the Ultimate Fighter, went to the finale with Kurt Holloway, got finished via triangle, and yeah, we've seen him in a couple bouts since then. Against Alexander Hernandez, he took on short notice. He lost that one by decision. Most recently was against Markel Medeiros. He lost that one by decision. Um, I believe that Hubbard probably does have the cardio advantage here, but it's not at high elevation. Rongju's had a full camp. He did go 3 hard rounds with Cody Steele, and his cardio held up. So I believe Rongju's a correct pick here. Um, he's the more active fighter. He goes forward. He has very slick boxing. He has a lot of power in his hands. So fairly confident in this one. If I had to pick, I would probably say Rongju by decision, but I would not be surprised if he could finish Hubbard as well. He puts together long combinations, not just the 1, 2, 5, 6 punch combinations at times. And he's got serious power in his hand. He's coming off of the momentum. He's fighting in his home country. I expect him to go out there and get this one done. So that is leg number 1 for our lock of the week. Now, leg number 2, to get this at plus money, is going to be Sergey Pavlovich. Now, man, I'll be triggered if this one fails me, but don't worry. I've done a lot of tape study on this one. I've done a lot of research. I'm very, very confident Pavlovich can get this one done. Number 1 is because I believe he's the more well-rounded fighter. I believe if Sergey wants to mix in the takedowns, he will get it. If he can take down Jairzinho Rosenstrike for 3 rounds and control him, I feel that he can do that to Waldo Cortez Acosta too. Um, just the data that it shows, like looking at Waldo Cortez Acosta's UFC career, a very close fight with Jared Vanderaa where he arguably lost. His calf got chewed up. Um, Vanderaa arguably won on damage, but like a close fight with Vanderaa is not good. Pavlovich would have got him out of there in 2 minutes. Lost to Marcus Roderio de Lima. His last fight lost to Sergey Spivak, and 99% of that fight was on the feet as well. If you're losing to Sergey Spivak on the feet, you're going to lose to Sergey Pavlovich on the feet. So Pavlovich has very good wins. He hasn't looked as good lately, but I'm not going to throw his recent performances ahead of what he has shown. And that's a first round knockout over Curtis Blades, Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa. The Blades fight in particular is very impressive. So obviously it's evident that he does have the power advantage. He also has the reach advantage too. Um, as far as volume wise, they're both very similar. Waldo Cortez averaging 1.5 more significant strikes landed per minute. But that being said, I do feel, damage is the main scoring criteria. Sergey's shots will have a lot more emphasis on them. He doesn't have to worry about a long rangey, tricky southpaw like Volkov. I also do feel that Sergey has the cardio advantage too. He didn't look too gassed out in his last fight against Jairzinho with all the wrestling, even when it was in round 3. Cortez Acosta, yeah, he likes to stay at range, grind out a decision or win a decision and just outpoint you with leg kicks and jabs. But I'm fairly confident in Sergey here. A prop you could also go for as well is Sergey Pavlovich by decision. Cortez Acosta never been finished. I feel like there's a very good chance we could see, round 1 kind of on the feet, a little bit of back and forth. Sergey having more emphasis on his shots, doing a little bit more damage, and then he begins to mix in the takedowns. I feel, like if you look at it from his perspective, his coach would be saying, "Okay, it worked in our last fight. Let's at least give Waldo that look and see if we can get one of our own." So, would not be surprised if he was to mix in the takedowns here and win a 30-27 decision. So yeah, Sergey Pavlovich is going to be leg number 2 for our lock of the week. So our lock of the week is Sergey Pavlovich money line paired with Rong Zhu money line, and that will get you plus money. Our underdog is Xiao Long. Very confident in this one, boys. Very, very, very confident. I'm actually I could say I'm more confident in this hitting than Pavlovich. I'm very confident in both gentlemen though. Like I would not give out a lock of the week that I'm not sure on, but very confident in this underdog of the week, Xiao Long. Um, a couple of props I want to talk about this fight here. Diyar Nergoze versus Uran Sati Baldev. Now, uh, it's close odds. They've got Uran as a slight favourite, but if I'm being honest here, I probably wouldn't bet on this fight. Especially, I would not bet on Dair. If you guys have not watched him before, he does have kind of like tics, like Tourette's in a way, like not Tourette's, but he has like a tic where he's constantly like touching his face and moving his like hands around, and it kind of like you know puts it over him at times, and that caused him to lose his. Well, it didn't cause him, but it's not a good thing for a fighter to have a tick like that constantly, touching your face. You can get caught off guard with something. Your hands aren't where they're meant to be. Um, but Uran, he had a close fight with Martin Buday, a 29-28 decision loss. His last fight, that was at heavyweight. This is at light heavyweight. So he's back down to his natural weight class. I feel like he's just going to outpoint him in this one. I feel like he's got the better volume. He's taller. He's got a much longer reach. I feel like the straight punches are going to be there for Uran in this fight. Dayi doesn't really move his head well, so I feel Uran is going to push the pace, go forward, while Dier is going to look for those shots those roundhouse head kicks coming off of the back foot, the big left hand. Dayi is a southpaw, so I feel that Uran's going to get this one done by decision. I feel like he has the cardio advantage. Better competition he's fought on the regional scene and more volume, the longer reach. I feel like the straight punches are going to get this one done, and he's going to win a 30-27, 29-28 decision. So see that as a little prop as you will. Just want to let you guys know not to bet on Michel Pereira in this one. If you guys aren't aware, Michel Pereira does not train. He does not have cardio. So in all seriousness, just do not bet on Michel Pereira. Look, it's probably he wins in round one. If he does not win in round one, Dorcas is probably going to win a 29-28 decision, if I'm being honest. So don't put him in your parlays. It's not worth it. He's fucking terrible. Even in the last fight with the Bus, had one round in him after that, was landing fuck all. He's terrible. He has no cardio. I feel like if Dorcas survives round one, goes forward in round two, mixes in the takedowns, which he can, and he does have a lot of submissions. He has a couple Darce chokes too. I feel like Kyle Dorcas could even find a late submission. So just don't bet on this fight. It's just not worth it. Michelle Pereira's a can. Um, I think one more. Kiefer Crosby and fucking whatever that is, Nurajai. Don't bet on Nurajai either. I don't know if you guys have done the tape study or not, but he's very raw, he's very young, and he's 11-1. So Kiefer Crosby does have the experience on his side. He's 24 years old, but in every single fight, man, he's not experienced. He's not technical. He goes out there against lesser competition and fights retarded, and he continues to win because the competition is not high. Now, Kiefer Crosby is not that good of an opponent either. He's got 2 losses in the UFC, both to Sam Patterson and to Kevin Doucet, both via submission. But I don't think this is something he's going to have to worry about in this fight. Is going to the ground. I feel like it's going to be a stand-up battle. Nurajai, he comes forward. He's a southpaw. The way he throws his right hook, like he doesn't defend his head well. He doesn't move his head, and he has his chin up in the air, which I don't like because Kiefer Crosby is a good boxer, and he has got professional boxing experience, multiple victories. I like this one for Kiefer Crosby. Honestly, I would not be surprised if Nurajai goes out there, fights like a spastic, and clips him with a spinning back fist, and then my take just looks retarded because he smoked him in round one. But I feel like Nurajai hasn't really been pushed to, round two, round three after, if he fumbles a finish early, and now you've got Kiefer Crosby going forward, who's a good boxer, who, has a high significant strike rate per minute, he could get him out of there. So Kiefer Crosby has the better defense on the feet. He moves his head more. He has a higher guard. Nurajai, I feel like the moment could get to him here. Um, I feel like this is kind of like a Tom Nolan versus Nicholas Motor type of vibe. Fight this guy's fighting in his home country. Very young, 24 years of age. He has his chin up in the air. You come forward against a guy like Kiefer, you don't respect him. He's going to crack you. So a little prop, a Hail Mary plot prop. I'm going to go with Kiefer Crosby by knockout. So that is definitely worth a sprinkle. Other than that, I think that is it. Um, we will break down the main event as it is the main event. Um, Honestly, I'm not going to bet on this fight. Maybe I'll put Zhang Minyang by knockout in one of my parlays, but it's just not worth it. Zhang Mingyang, he's been KO'd on the regional scene. He got KO'd by that fraud who fought Alonzo Menafield. I don't know if you guys know who he is. I cannot remember his name, but it was a guy who faked his record and faked his stats on the way to the UFC. He got to the UFC. He went from like having a record of like 20-4 to like 15-12 or something retarded. Got smoked by Menafield. Now he's out of the UFC. Um, he KO'd Zhang Mingyang, and Zhang Mingyang, even in the Anthony Smith fight, he's getting chopped up with elbows, like not chopped up, but Smith did land some shots. In the clinch, I feel like Johnny Walker could find a knockout. He does have multiple KOs in the clinch. That being said, one over Khalil Roundtree, which is a clinch elbow. I feel like we could see something similar here because Zhang Mingyang in the clinch, defensively, he's not very intelligent. He leaves his head held high. He's looking for the underhooks, but I feel like it's either man's fight. Either one can clip him. I favour Johnny Walker with the kicks as well. I feel like he could find success with the low kicks if he be patient. He's got very good low kicks. He's got very strong shins. He's not scared to go shin to shin like he did with Magomed Ankalaev. He actually had success with the low kicks against him. So if he can avoid the big shots on the feet, the big boxing from Zhang Mingyang, and stay at bay and land the calf kicks, I feel like he could even find a calf kick finish. I don't feel like that's very ridiculous to say, but if I had to pick, I'd say Zhang Mingyang by knockout. Johnny Walker has been KO'd too many times. He's struggled against this style of opponent in the past, but I'm not counting him out. I feel like he could. He's a crazy guy. He could find a knockout in the clinch, but that's going to be it for this one. Yeah. So gave out a couple little props, mainly though our lock of the week, which was Sergey Pavlovich paired with Rong Zhu, and our underdog of the week was Zhao Long. Go make some money this weekend.